Alright everybody, welcome back. In this section we'll talk about containing and defending the pick and roll. There are various ways to contain and even stop the pick and roll. You can do things such as fight over, hedge and defend. You can hedge with the post player. You can play help side D. You can trap. But there are many things that you can do in order to defend and contain the pick and roll. And we'll talk about some of those as we go through this section here. Yeah, buddy. This is one thing you can do to defend the pick and roll. You can go over the top of the screen. You can fight through the top of the screen and then defend and bump the ball handler from going inside the three-point line or the painted area to keep him away, as far away from the paint or the goal as possible. And your defender, if he's got good defensive awareness, he'll recognize that. As we see here, Carlos Boozer is trying to make a pick attempt, and at this point I see that, and what you want to do is you want to use your lock-on defense shading, and you want to try to shade it to the area where you think he's going to go. And if you do that, then what you'll do is you'll just slide on top of the pick, as you see Chris Paul here do here. He slides on top of the pick. That's very good. Tyson Chandler recognizes that he doesn't need to help. Sometimes your defenders will see you in trouble and they'll do what's called a hedge. They'll hedge the screen. You'll see this done a lot in the pros, colleges, a lot of high schools do it. It's taught real early. They'll hedge it to try to deter the ball handler, to make him dribble way out here so the defense can have time to rotate. But however, at this point, Chris Paul doesn't need a hedger. Tyson Chandler recognizes that he doesn't need to hedge, and he retreats. But at the same time, my job isn't over as a person defending the ball. I've got to play lock-on defense and get him out of this paint and keep him away from the paint or inside the three-point area. So I relock on and I push him out. Yeah, he came inside the three-point area, but he did not make any movements towards the goal. I relocked back on, and therefore we made a good attempt, a good stop on the pick and roll. Alright, the way we defended this play here is really a hedge, switch, and recover. What that means is that I forced Deron Williams to go to the screen, go towards the screen. And once he actually went to the screen, I went over the screen myself. But look at Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler hedged, he pushed out, and once he pushes out, it's your job to switch until it's time to recover. You have to get back here and watch for any passes, any lead pass attempts. And then also, if there were any alley-oop attempts, you could do the grab jersey thing and avoid that from happening. But Tyson Chandler did a real good job here. David West dropped back, one person guarding two people, and now it's time for the switch. He did the recover, we did the recover, and now it's the switch. Alright, on this example of the hedge, switch, and recover, there wasn't too much of a switch, but this is done with a person who's less defensive minded. The first time it was done with Tyson Chandler. David West is not as good a defensive player as Tyson Chandler is, nowhere near, but he tries his best because attributes do matter. Remember that, attributes do matter. So once I force him towards the screen, I fight under the screen, and we'll go over that later. I fight under the screen instead of going over the top. He hedges, he pushes out, and then I quickly get back and switch back to my man, recover and switch back. And the reason why this play was very good, it was because the defensive play was good, because it was kind of congested here. That pass getting off without me stealing it or without Julian Wright stealing it is going to be slim. Also, we've got Tyson Chandler back here ready to deflect any alley-oop attempts. So all in all, this defensive play worked very well. Now staying with ways to stop and contain the pick and roll. Here we're going to trap this once again. Shadow him towards the screen. Make him take the bait. And then once he takes the bait, we trap. Now, once you trap, you must be able to rotate. Remember the defensive principles on rotating. Here we would not rotate off of someone who is a perimeter shooter unless it was a poor perimeter shooter. But Ronnie Brewer and Kyle Korver are two very good perimeter shooters. More than likely the person who is being trapped, they've already clicked the icon switching, or they've already pressed the A button to the person that's rolling to the goal. So you just want to come off somebody who's close to the goal, which is Tyson Chandler. I can guard both of these guys with Tyson Chandler. He's not going to pass it to Mehmet Okur. So after that, I just click on Tyson Chandler. I rotate. I see that he didn't pass the ball, and I just stand in an area where I can guard two people at once. And at that point, after that, it was a dead tie ball. Very, very good defense. And another thing you can do to help contain the pick and roll is to play help side D. Once the pick and roll starts, then you want to pick someone who is one pass away, but stay in the passing lane so you can get a steal if the ball is passed to him. So I click on Julian Wright, and then the pick starts. And after the pick starts, I have to worry about where the pick is going. If I can get this camera right. Where the pick is going, what type of pick it is. If it's a pick and pop, or a pick and roll, or a pick and slip. You got to make that decision quick. So at this point, I'm able to rotate simply because Razul Butler is now in the passing lane. He can get over to Kyle Korver. This would be considered a skip pass from way over here to way over here. So I'm able to rotate. Julian Wright would get on Brewer. Razul Butler would now guard Kyle Korver. So now I sink to the middle, and then I cover this roll. I cover the roll until Tyson Chandler is able to get there. The pass to Kyle Korver shouldn't get there. He's got Tyson Chandler and myself right in this passing lane. Practice cameras are crazy. And then once that happens, once I see everything's good, Tyson Chandler's back in his spot. Chris Paul's playing great defense, and now the defense is not harmed by that pick and roll possession. Also, what you can do is you can actually get the post player and actually play hedge D yourself. Once the screen initiates, you can play hedge D. If he needs help, he'll get it, but he didn't need help here, so I just recovered back. There's no switching, there's no hedging, he didn't need it, play's over. So remember, there's no specific one way to stop or contain the pick and roll. There are many ways to do it, and what you want to do according to what the pick is, according to what type of pick and roll it is, and your style of play, you want to choose, you've got to choose very quickly of which one you're going to try to do to contain or stop the pick and roll when it's initiated by the offense. So you'll be able to keep your defense at an advantage